Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone, and the fourth round of the Jamaica Premier League will be completed today with 2 matches at the Stadium East Field. 5 matches were contested on Sunday, 2 of which were carried on your home of champions. Our commentator Donald Oliver is at the Stadium East Field, and he has a roundup of the latest action from the competition.
Yeah, pretty warm conditions here at the National Stadium East Field as we prepare for Monday Night Football, another iteration of it, as the Jamaica Premier League, powered by Digicel, continues this evening as we take a look at what exactly took place yesterday. Of course, Molynes United faced off with Vere United, and to be fair, it wasn't the most exciting fixture. There was a goal in it after all was said and done, and it came through Sean Livingston, who did well here, pouncing on a mistake at the back and just placing it over the line there in the end to give Molynes United the victory over Vere United. Yeah, that's a really good finish from him, and he got his 3rd this season. And there are the celebrations for Molynes United, who went on to win this encounter. But there was an incident here where a couple of players were sent off. Jeremy Lynch got a straight red for retaliating, as Javier Lynch actually picked up a 2nd yellow card in the same incident, and that's how it ended in favour of Molynes United. The 2nd game of the doubleheader yesterday saw Dunbeholden and Cavalier facing off. Of course, last season both these teams met in a 7-goal thriller, and it was always going to be difficult to live up to those expectations. And I tell you what, there were 3 mistakes and 3 goals in this contest. Here's the first. A back pass from Gadil Irving didn't quite reach J.D. White, and Stephen Barnett reacted quickest there and eventually placed that one across the line, and that was the only goal Dunbeholden got in the game. At the other end, there was a foul there inside the box, and the penalty was awarded by Odette Hamilton, and it was converted well by Dwayne Atkinson, who got his 2nd of the season. From the spot there, Cavaliers number 10, and that was on the stroke of half time, in fact in stoppage time, and then they would actually get the winner here. Colin Anderson doing well to place it in the path of Atkinson, who got his 2nd on the night, and with that Cavalier got all 3 points. Really well won and placed by Anderson, and then what a touch that was, and the finish also was really good from Atkinson, and he enjoyed that, getting 2 on the night. So Cavalier with all 3 points over Dunbeholden. As we take a look at the full results, so as I said, Molynes with a 1-0 win over Vere United. Harbourview, despite the fact that the team got a couple of red cards, they got by Humberline by 1-0. Montego Bay United at home defeated Arnett Gardens by 2-1. It was 2-2 between Tivoli and Faulkland. And of course, as I mentioned before, Cavalier with the odd goal in 3, winning by the odd goal in 3 over Dunbeholden. So it's pretty tight at the top, Harbourview and Montego Bay. They are both on 10 points. Harbourview with a better goal difference at the moment. Cavalier, they're right up there on 9 points. They're 2 ahead of Arnett Gardens. Molynes United and Tivoli Gardens, of course, they complete the top 6 standings. So, a couple of interesting fixtures on this afternoon. Waterhouse will be in action, and they will face off with the Chapelton Maroons. The Waterhouse really would want to get going. So too Chapelton as well. Of course, Waterhouse losing quite a few players. And of course, the Monday night fixture, it's a big one between Mount Pleasant and Portmore United. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be live on SportsMax 2 at approximately 7:30 p.m. Jamaica time, 8:30 p.m. ECT. That's all from the National Stadium East Field.
So lands Harbourview and Montego Bay United, same number of points, 10. Harbourview edging Montego Bay United on goal difference.
Yeah, bit of a break now for the Jamaica Premier League after matches tonight. Reports are that they will resume late December after the World Cup is over. But interesting early goings here, and Harbourview, the defending champions, looking pretty solid in their title defence. I want to say before we talk about them though, and about the Montego Bay United revival from last year,
yes,
that young Dwayne Atkinson, this former Kingston College student who got a double for Cavalier last night, I've been saying since last season that I think based on his quality, his speed, his ability to kick with both feet, and his ability to position himself in the box, I think he should be scoring more goals.
Yeah.
And he has gotten 3 now so far this season, 2 last night. And Dwayne Atkinson is a player I think I have a lot of time for. And as I said, very, very pacey, very good ball handling skills. And I'm expecting him to flourish this season. I'm not sure how well or how much it will impact on Cavalier's performance as they seek to recapture the title. But Dwayne Atkinson, a very, very potentially solid player for the future.
Well, now that you mention him, I'm going to be looking out for Dwayne every JPL match to see what he does just for your sake. But that aside, let's talk now about Montego Bay United. They got that win against Arnett Gardens, and it's their first loss for the season.
Yes. Arnett Gardens haven't lost to Montego Bay United in almost 6 years. The last time they lost to Montego Bay United would have been March 2017. So it's a near 6-year winless run Montego Bay United had against Arnett Gardens. So very, very good on them. And it again underlines, albeit early season, that Donovan Ducey is really an expert of making bad teams better.
Yes.
Because Montego Bay United were, without question, the worst team in the Premier League last year, by far.
Yes.
They finished bottom of the table, and they were just awful last year. He has taken over now. A couple of injections of new players on the roster, but the nucleus from last year's squad still there. And he has been able to give them an unbeaten start to the season and join top of the table. Donovan Ducey's ability to make bad teams better would probably be best exemplified by his 2017-2018 campaign at Waterhouse, where he took over in mid-November with Waterhouse in 10th position, 1 point above the drop zone. He took them the 4th in the regular season and all the way to the final. They lost in the final actually on penalties to Portmore. So, and we've seen him do that with Vere last year, where they were bottom of the table the season prior, and they were contenders, or at least playoff positioned last season. So Ducey's ability to take struggling teams into contender positions is well documented.
Yeah.
And at the moment, he's on course to doing the same thing with Montego Bay United.
Yeah, he's a very exciting coach. I actually look forward to hearing him at the press conferences and, you know, the manner in which he speaks about his tactics and all that. So I'm looking forward to see him do well with his team as well. Speaking about do well, Faulkland FC, newly promoted side, they got their first set of points because I think last week Friday when we spoke, bottom of the table, and they hadn't gotten any points just yet. So they were able to draw with Tivoli, which is good for them.
Yeah, and it was a last-minute equaliser that they got, so good on them. They were playing at home, Faulkland, and Tivoli, one of the better teams in the Premier League at the moment so far this season, and they were pretty solid last season as well. So Faulkland will consider their drawn result against Tivoli a plus for them and an encouraging result going into the break. There is still a lot of football left to be played, Mariah, but Faulkland, based on their roster, have players with a lot of quality. Their coach is the coach who left Montego Bay United, now with Faulkland. And I saw him in a post-match interview yesterday saying that he feels he has players with the quality to be contenders in this league. They just need to develop the confidence and the assurance to match up against more experienced players. So I would suspect that his 2-2 draw yesterday with Tivoli would have been very encouraging for him, as it would be for the players as well. So let's see what Faulkland has to do in the coming matches.
Well, you did mention there's a lot of football still to be played. Waterhouse up against Chapelton at 5 p.m. today. What are we expecting from that match? A lot of goals, Lance?
Well, it's hard to predict that now with Waterhouse because they don't look like the Waterhouse that we've seen for 3 or 4 seasons of the past. So they have some issues sorting out Waterhouse, but based on their roster, they have enough quality that should get past Chapelton Maroons pretty easily. So I would back them to win. The number of goals, though, I'm not sure on that.
Call the Mount Pleasant Portmore. That's later tonight.
I would give Mount Pleasant the edge. Portmore had a good result last time out, and a developing team, Portmore. Having had a bad season last year because Portmore historically has been the most successful team in the history of the Jamaica Premier League with 7 titles. No team has as many titles as they have, but they didn't have a good season last year. They weren't too hot the season before either, so they're in a rebuilding phase, and I don't see them troubling Mount Pleasant. Would probably be spirited in their effort, but if I were a betting man, I would take top of Whitmore's Mount Pleasant to beat Portmore tonight.
Yeah, agree with you. Well, what's for sure is the Jamaica Premier League lives on your home of champions, and if you haven't downloaded the SportsMax app just yet, you can go do so. Break time.